Finally, okay. This one's going to work. This is like my fourth take because I kind of have a mess on my coffee table back there, and um, it's a little. I guess it's the way I was raised, where I'm embarrassed to have a messy apartment, and well, my apartment is pretty messy right now. Although you can't really tell because of the way I have the webcam angled. Anyway, the point of this is I haven't made too many vlogs lately. Whereas before I never really vlogged on a regular basis, and I figured it was okay because not many people watch my vlogs. But I figure I'm never gonna get people to watch unless I make some consistent content and actually talk about things that I like. So I guess I'm not even looking for that many people to watch, just, a couple of, uh, I want to make a difference, I guess. So I'm just going to talk about things that I've been thinking about lately. Um, I guess the first thing would be how much the internet kind of makes me sick lately. It it makes my heart hurt. Is the way I explained it to my best friend. Um, because I see people on the internet tearing each other down when we could be lifting each other up. Like I see all these, and the main thing is this young girl who committed suicide recently in British Columbia, who, before doing so, put out a video about her struggle with bullying and how she was being harassed because she made a few mistakes. Um, and that really, I guess, got to me. Especially when I saw these like comparison pictures online that was like, this girl did this and killed herself, and everyone and their mother cries, and this guy was bullied for being ugly, and one of them apparently is even a fake picture. Like the one of the nobody gives two shits because the guy got bullied for being ugly or whatever. This is the comparison picture. This is not what I believe. But I see people putting things like this on Facebook and comments saying that she deserved it, or people calling her names, and it's like this girl killed herself because she was bullied and she's dead. She's somebody's child. She's gone. She killed herself because people were mean to her. People were horrible, and wouldn't let go of a few mistakes that she made. She needed guidance. She didn't deserve what she got. She needed some guidance. And I think that's what that gets to me is this girl needed guidance, and now she's gone, and people won't even let her rest in peace. Like she's being bullied beyond the grave, and that just breaks my heart because that is wrong. We as a society, as a people, need to learn to lift each other up and not bring each other down, because more things like this are just going to happen. And this is really important and personal to me because I was bullied. I I can point out some specific things that happened to me. Okay, people called me dirty. People put paint in my hair, like green paint in my hair in school. When I sprained my ankle, nobody believed me. They all said I was faking it. They would make fun of me in the schoolyard by mocking my limp because we couldn't afford to buy a pair of crutches for the 2 weeks I needed them. Even my best friend didn't believe me. And that, I think, was what hurt the most. So, Cass, if you ever see this, believe me when I say things. Um, People said I was dirty, even though I showered every day. I'm like OCD about my personal hygiene because of this. Um, my brother used to tell people that I would go in the bathroom, turn on the shower, and not get in. Apparently, my hair was dry. No, I always washed my hair. I just like to make things up, I guess. I don't know. My brother also had ADHD, so that might have been part of it. Like, I know not all of it was like his fault. He was being a kid, but I mean, it was really tough on me. It was really, really tough on me. And I remember being in the second grade, being 7 years old, and having my only friend in the world being told by her best friend that she wasn't allowed to hang out hang out with me. And that always kind of stuck with me. Like, this other girl, like, where did she get off telling somebody else who she can and can't play with? And I would be like, hey, do you wanna play together at recess? And she'd be like, oh well, I'll go ask my best friend or whatever. I'd be like, well, why should you have to ask? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And it was really hard for me. It was really painful. And people used to make fun of me for playing games at recess, like just having fun with when my best friend, who's been my best friend since I was 9 years old, moved to town. We used to play things like Pokemon, like role playing Pokemon, and at recess, like whatever. We were kids. We liked to have fun and play, and back then Pokemon was kind of cool if you were a dork like me. Anyways, I really liked it. I always loved it. I still love Pokemon. I don't role play it anymore, obviously, but I mean, like, I still like playing the games or whatever. Um, and sometimes during the summer, I'll get a little nostalgic and I'll watch like a couple episodes from the first season and laugh at how childish it is. Um, but it was like people would make fun of us for just being who we were, and I remember like the rumors that were spread about me. In high school, somebody went around and told everyone I was a lesbian. Um, it's like, no, I'm kind of straight, thanks. Like, I don't have any problem with anyone who is gay, but it's just not who I am. I'm not interested in other girls. I can appreciate like the beauty of the female body, but I mean, I don't want to go make out or have sex with them. You know what I mean? I'm That's just not who I am. And people would spread it around like it was a bad thing, and that wasn't just bullying me, but they were kind of bullying anybody else in that school who could have been gay or a lesbian, and they those people would see what they were saying about me, and that would discourage them. Like, I don't know if this actually happened, but this is how I feel things would be. Like, if I was lesbian and or bi or whatever, and I saw somebody making fun of somebody else for it, whether they were or weren't, I would be discouraged from being my true self because of that, because I wouldn't want that to happen to me. And I remember oh, this one guy, I don't even like talking about him because the way that he bullied me ended up uh, being sexual harassment, um, because he pinched my bum once in school, and I told him, leave me alone, you know, and actually, this was my friend's boyfriend, and he actually ended up, um, I guess the technical word would be molesting, but I mean, I guess it was because I was very inexperienced. I'm a fairly, it's not that I'm non-sexual, it's that I believe in waiting. Not necessarily until marriage, but I believe in waiting until you find the right person to give your first time away to. And, I still haven't found that person. I thought I did at 17, but at 15, I knew I hadn't found that person. At 17, I considered it, but in the end, me and that guy broke up. Anyways, he ended up grabbing my breasts and I guess humping me from behind, I guess would be the right word. And I was begging him to let me go, and that kind of stuff. And that's sexual harassment. That's technically molestation, according to the law. And I was a child. This guy was 19 years old. I guess he was doing we call it a victory lap at school, like in the high schools in Ontario, where you stay an extra year to, say, get your prerequisites for college or university. So I guess he was doing that. Anyways, he was dating my friend who's also in the ninth grade. Um, well, we had just finished ninth grade. Let me correct. We had just finished ninth grade. And that year had been really hard for me already because right before school, well, not right before school started, in the July before I started high school, my cousin killed herself. And that was really hard for me. And 6 months later, my grandfather also passed away. And that was also really hard for me because at the same time that I got to say goodbye, I also had to watch him suffer, whereas with my cousin, it was so sudden. So, anyways, I'd had a really hard year. And I think what made me an easy target was the fact that everyone knew I was moving, because I think um, it was a week before that my friends threw me a surprise going away party. Anyways, and then, this stuff happened, and I was bullied in this scary sexual way. Um, but even he wasn't the worst of them because he bullied me, kind of on just kind of he did the worst things, but he wasn't as consistent as some of the other people. I would get Facebook messages online, Facebook comments online saying things like, um, "Oh, did you get run over by a truck?" And they would be nice pictures, actually nice pictures, and all these cruel and mean and horrible things. And I actually ended up having to call the cops on one guy because he wouldn't leave me alone. I should have called the cops on the other guy, obviously, but it's a little late for that now, I guess. I know there's no statute of limitations or whatever, but there's no evidence. So, I'm kind of screwed for that. Um, but, I was very badly bullied. At 13 years old, I tried to kill myself. I tied a scarf around my neck and I tried to kill myself. And 6 months later, that was when I found out about my cousin. So, it was more like a really tough, like, year and a half. And then, even when I moved away, the bullying continued because, I didn't have self worth or self esteem by then because, it had kind of been brutally stolen from me by all the people that bullied me, by, the guy that molested me, by, with his, well, sexually harassed, molested, however you want to place it. Um, and then the bullying continued because I had no self esteem. I didn't have that confidence that people look for in a person. People pick on people when they see that they don't like themselves. Like that's part of it because they know that it's easy to push them down so that they feel like to make themselves feel better. Or at least that's what I hear about bullies. And I remember I had a shoe thrown at me in class once. Although I used my drama skills for the better, and I kind of stormed out of class and got him in big trouble. So that was horrible. But I mean, I got bullied throughout. I say the elementary school bullying was the worst because that's when it affected me the most, and it was the most consistent. Once I got into high school, it wasn't as consistent, but I mean, some of the things got worse, obviously, because I mean, I was sexually harassed and molested by one of my bullies. Like, that's I don't know how much worse you can get other than like one of your bullies like actually trying to kill you or something. I don't know. Um, so it was really hard for me. And when I was 15 years old, I tried to kill myself again, um, 2 or 3 times actually, and it was a very hard time for me because of all this bullying was going on, and I had no self-esteem. I was a mess. I was ripped apart to shreds, and people need to realize what this can do to a person. Because it's a miracle that I'm alive. Because I screamed out for help too, but I didn't do it in a YouTube video or anything. I screamed out for help to my sister. So like I said, Alice, I'm not doing well. Alice, I can't. I'm having a hard time. I'm struggling, and she was there for me. You know, it was that, and it was my cousin, knowing what happened to her did to our family and how much it hurt her mother and her parents and her brother, and all of our extended family. Like I knew as much as I had tried that I didn't really want to. I think what it was for me is, at least when I was 50, when I was 13, it was more of a serious kind of thing. Um, when I was 15, what I really wanted, I think, was just for somebody to notice how much I was hurting. Because I was hurting so much. I was being bullied at school. I felt like I was being bullied at home. Um, Even though now that I look back on it, me and my mom were just on very different like pages. There were some things that happened that probably shouldn't have happened, but nobody's perfect. And I doubt my mom meant for some of these things to occur. Um, and I mean, none of them were particularly horrible. It was more a verbal thing, but well, it's still horrible, I guess. But she's my mom. I don't have to forgive her, but it's like I have closure with that, I guess. Me and my mom have talked about it, and she's there for me now. She's there for me whenever I need her. I call her, and she's there, and she's my rock. Like Alice is my person, my mom is my rock. You know, so even that just kind of added to things. So I guess what I really wanted in that place was for somebody to just notice. Notice what I was going through, seeing how much pain I was in, and I think the only reason that I survived it was because I actually had somebody that I could confide in my sister. So that was the thing that kept me alive. And everyone else that pulled me down, they nudged me towards the edge of a cliff, and it was like I just wanted to jump and let go. And even if I didn't die, even if I just like got really badly hurt, that would be okay because then maybe somebody would notice. Like, because that's the thing with these people are people scream for help, and it breaks my heart when nobody listens. Just, before you bully somebody, before you say, you're dirt, tell somebody, oh, you're dirty, or you smell, or you're ugly, or calling somebody horrible names, like, saying, oh, well, you're a slut, or you're a whore, or or because there's so many ways that you can bully somebody, and you have to think before you do these things. Think, you know, the person I'm bullying is somebody's child. The person that you're saying these things about is somebody's everything, somebody's world, and to try to push that person to a point where they're no longer around, where that person that they mean everything to has to suffer losing their everything? Like, do you really want to be the cause of that? Does everyone do people forget that, this person is just like you and they have just as much right as you to be on this earth, and you can't judge somebody without judging yourself. If you're going to be critical of somebody else, you have to be critical of yourself. Have you ever made that mistake? Have you ever made a similar mistake? Have you ever made any mistake? And how would you feel if somebody came and brought that up and used that against you to make you feel horrible about yourself? This is why bullying is such a problem. Because people, they take these things and they use them against you until it almost starts making sense to you, even though that is the last thing that's the truth. But you hear it so many times that you start to believe it. And that's the tragedy, is when, a beautiful young girl, who's having troubles, who's admittedly made mistakes. I'm pretty sure this girl that I'm talking about, that I'm not going to name names because I don't want to add to the. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, anyways. Possibly, if you look at the date and remember. Anyway, um, the real tragedy is when a young girl, a beautiful young girl who's admittedly made mistakes, feels it's necessary to take her life when all she wanted was somebody to listen, with some guidance. And, I'm sure those mistakes that she made, was just about wanting to feel special or wanting to feel attractive, because that's what all teenage girls really want, right? They want to feel special and attractive and desirable. And a lot of times when they don't feel that way, they will do things that aren't necessarily right, or aren't necessarily good, or constructive or productive, or any of those things. But they will do them because they think that it's going to make them feel attractive, especially in this case. Um, if you know what I'm talking about, anyway. So just be kind. That's something I'm trying to do too. I'm trying to be better, especially with my road rage. I have really bad road rage. I tend to curse at people and call people idiots and whatnot when I'm driving, because I just get angry when people cut me off and whatnot. And part of that is I get easily irritated because I have some anxiety issues. Um, but I'm trying to work on it. Like, when I hear myself saying these things now, I say, no, you know, I don't know what's going on in this person's life. I don't know if, their wife is having a baby, or, like, I don't know what's going on in this person's life. I can't judge them because I don't know them. And, have I ever accidentally cut somebody off? I'm sure I accidentally have. I've never purposely, done it, but I'm sure I've made those mistakes too. So, you know, don't judge people unless you can judge yourself, you know? Just when you feel that urge to say something negative or to say something mean, try to look for the best in that person, or remind yourself, I don't know this person. I don't know what circumstances they're going through. I don't know. I can't judge. So, think about that next time that you want to say something negative to somebody. Think about that you don't know what they're going through. You don't know what your words can do to them. And you don't want to be the person that makes it so somebody doesn't want to live their life anymore, that steals a life, steals a loved one away from their family. You don't want to be that person. You just don't.